All right, Shalom. I'd like to start off by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Chakodash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS that give us his truth and all his purity, and peace and salutations to all the occupants pushing this word throughout the four corners of the earth, and sincerity and the truth. I'm the brother Yahweh Sap, and this lesson is going to go into these EBT snap cuts and hyperinflation. And I'm gonna put the videos in the post-production, but the Trump regime, they pretty much, cutting SNAP benefits and all these other benefits that low income and middle class families depend upon, especially our people, which is you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the Israelites. He's doing all of this because they need money for war. When you see governments starting to cut funding from all sectors of government, that means they're preparing for something drastic, which is economic collapse and nuclear war. They need money for this war, and this is all gonna fit into the agenda of the mark of the beast, because that is the end goal, and we're not gonna stop saying it. These cuts is gonna make people desperate, so desperate that they're gonna fold when they come in with this new form of currency, which is CBDC, central bank digital currency, but it's gonna come in the form of an implant. All central banks all over the earth, they're already prepared for that. Trump passed the executive order for 6G and implantables, which shows you that this thing is right around the corner. Elon Musk, he's been talking about universal basic income, but as of late, he switched it up to universal high income, because basic income sounds like you're gonna get the minimum, so people, ain't been with it. So now they're trying to embellish it and call it universal high income. They're trying to make it seem as if getting, this system, AI, digital currency and all that is going to make everybody rich, because we're going to have robots working for us and all of that. You're going to have your own private chef, but that's just bullshit, man. The scriptures talk about the serpent, Esau, Edom, how he's more subtle than any beast of the field, and how he, through subtlety, beguiled Eve. So that is the same way he's going to beguile people, through his subtlety, through his craft, right? So Revelation chapter 6, verse 5, it says, "And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat upon him had a pair of balances in his hand." And that represents famine, because famine is a form of judgment, and that's what the balances represent. Judgment is coming. This place, has been found wanton. It's been weighed in the balance, and now this kingdom is over. Just like back in the Babylonian Empire, the Most High found the Babylonians wanton, and he gave up their kingdom to the Persians and the Medes. This modern Babylon is America. Babylon the Great in Revelation, and the Persians are the Iranians, historically, and the Medes are the Russians. So the Persians and the Medes are going to take down Babylon, as prophesied in Ezekiel the 38th chapter. Ezekiel the 38th chapter, Isaiah the 13th chapter, Isaiah the 34th chapter. These nations are all going to come together in this coming Third World War to destroy America, right? So the pair of balances represents judgment coming. Judgment for what? Wickedness. This place is filled with evil, man. Why? Because the wicked is in rulership. Job 9 and 24. The so-called white man is the wicked. Malachi 1 and 4. Esau, Edom, which is the biblical nationality of the so-called white race. Esau, Edom is the wicked. The border of wickedness. That means wherever they at, that is where wickedness is. That's what that means. And forgive all the background noise. I'm just walking right now, a little walk and talk. But back to Revelation chapter 6, verse 6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. So a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny. Now, let's click on it and go into the word for penny. And the Greek is denarion, which, well, he's going to go into it. It says, Latin origin, a denarius, or 10 asses. Because back in the ancient time, that's how much donkeys you could get with a piece of a penny, you know. So it says denarius, a Roman silver coin in New Testament time. It took its name from its being called to 10 asses, a number after 217 BC, increased to 16. It says it was the principal silver coin of the Roman Empire. From the parable of the laborer in the vineyard, it would seem that a denarius was the ordinary pay for a day's wage. So that's the point, a day's wage. So when it says a measure of wheat for a penny, it's saying a measure of wheat for a day's wage. And what is a day's wage in America? You know, anywhere from like $100 to $200. You know, some people make less than that in other states, but that is the average. So a measure of wheat could be a piece of bread, you know, for $100, a bag of bread, a loaf of bread, you know, cereal, box of cereals, $50. Like, that's how bad it's gonna get. And once, you know, it already started. I was gonna say once it started, but it already started. But it's not gonna stop. Prices aren't gonna stop climbing. You know, it's not gonna be a point where it stops and everything goes back to normal. As you see, the price is going up damn near every day. I looked at the gas last week. It was $3.99, and a lot of gas stations kept it at that price, and some even took, you know, loss of their profits because they don't want to put it over $4 because they know a lot of people are not gonna come and get gas. So this past week, you know, it was like $4.19. Like, oh shit. And then today it's $4.39. So it's not gonna stop, man. We could wake up Monday and it'd be $4.50. So we're coming to the point where everyday prices are gonna increase. And you got different stores such as Walmart and many other stores replacing the price tags with digital price tags so that they can increase the prices throughout the day, you know. So that shows you right there, we're coming into hyperinflation. Hyperinflation is inflation on steroids. We've been in an inflationary period since COVID, really. Really, America's always been in an inflation ever since they took the dollar off the gold standard, you know. But it's gotten worse since COVID. But, you know, we're coming into a time where things are gonna double and triple, you know, in a span of days, as these experts been saying. Whereas, you know, inflation over the past 2 years, things doubled in about 2-3 years. But this time is gonna be inside of days, weeks, you know. Like this month, they're talking about gas shortages. There's already gas shortages all throughout America. Look up on TikTok, look up gas shortage, and you'll see all these different people in different states trying to find gas, and they're not able to. They're on 4 or 5 different gas stations and they can't get gas. And when they finally get gas, it's very expensive, you know? So we know once gas is up, the price of everything is up, right? So that's what that's going into, hyperinflation. So it says, a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. That's right, see thou hurt not the oil and the wine, which is this truth. We're not supposed to mix it with other doctrines, you know, trying to change it up, you know, like these guys, Genesis did, you know, IUIC, ISUPK, all these camps, well, not all of them, but most of these camps sold out, you know, even if the members don't know, you know, or even if the lower ranking members don't know, or the congregation, the leader, you know, still a sellout, you know. Their doctrine come from him and they trust in him, you know, for wisdom. So as long as they got the leader, they don't need to buy up the whole group, because the leader is gonna tell the group what to say. That's why you see them withdrawing from the names of Yahweh Shem Shah, telling you that the R5D chip is not the mark of the beast because they're sold out. But that's it on that. This is Isaiah chapter 24 and 4. It says, the earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. So right now, the earth is languishing. People are depressed, People have heavy burdens that they're dealing with mentally on a day-to-day basis. Bills, stress, kids, all types of stuff, man. Right? Debt. So the earth is in mourning. That's why there's protests all over the earth right now. And the Lord told us that will be one of the signs to come, the signs of the end. In 2 Ezra 9:1 on down, it says what? That when you see earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then you're going to know that the Most High is about to visit the world which he made. So we've seen the uproars. So we know Yahushua is right at the door. So it says, the earth is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Yes, so the earth is defiled before the Most High. Just like how back in Genesis, before the flood, the Most High, he saw the earth, that it was polluted, it was wicked, and he decided he had enough and he flooded the earth. How much more for this time where wickedness, like the scripture saying, 2 Ezra 15, wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth. Why? Because the wicked is in rulership. So this time it won't be a flood. Matter of fact, it will be a flood, but it'll be a flood of fire, not of water. Nuclear fire, right? So it says, therefore have the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. That's right. So the curse have devoured the earth. And the scriptures say what? Yahushua said, I am come to send fire on the earth. And what will I if it already be kindled? The fire is already kindled, in the form of these tensions, and it's going to consume the earth by escalating into full-blown global nuclear warfare, which is going to decimate billions of people, right? So it says, therefore the curse have devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. So few men left. This destruction is going to take away billions of people. And even before the destruction, billions of people are going to die from starvation, as prophesied. It says, the new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, all the merry-hearted do sigh. And that's what we see. People are sighing. They're mourning because they can't pay bills. EBT got cut off. They can't afford food. 70% of Americans right now said they're struggling with bills and paying for food and things of that nature. So this place is done, man. It says, the mirth of tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the harp ceaseth. So restaurants are collapsing because people ain't buying out no more. Things are too expensive. Clubs have been collapsing, hangout spots in general, because people don't have money to spend. The money they have to spare, they only could spend that on food, and they could barely get by with that. And the price of energy is going up as well, so they got to choose between food and electricity now too. So it says, they shall not drink wine with a song, strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. Yeah, so they ain't gonna party it up and live it up like they used to before. Hot girl summer and city boy era, and that shit is over with, man. Everybody's about to be in mourning, struggling, in pain, distressed, desperate, right? So it says, strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. Yeah, because when you're already in a state of depression, you're mad, you're angry, and you drink on top of it, that's a bad mixture, gonna cause, chaos out here, man, right? So it says, the city of confusion is broken down. The city of confusion being America, Babylon the Great. The word Babylon means confusion. It comes from the word Babal in the Hebrew. It says, the city of confusion is broken down. We see it. is broken down, is being broken down, piece by piece, being pulled apart, right? The supply chain being totally messed up. And right now, we're in a period of a lag where people, they see the effects, they see the effects, but they don't realize how quickly and drastically things are gonna change. Things going from where they are today to tomorrow they wake up, things are no more as usual, go to work, you know what I'm saying? Try to get a coffee on the way, coffee done double, tripled in price. Like, what the fuck, $10 for coffee? What the fuck is wrong with you? Looking around the store, everything that went up. Oh, hold on a minute. I gotta get gas, hop in your car, go to the gas station, gas is $7, $10 a gallon, $15 a gallon. Hey man, all hell about to break loose, man. Say every house is shut up that no man may come in. Why? Because you're gonna have a lot of breaking and entering. People looking for food. Like the scripture says in 2 Ezra 15, 2 Ezra 16, it says how a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread for great tribulation. So men are gonna break and enter houses, especially the wealthy areas. They're gonna run up in there, kill those families, rape the women, steal the resources they have, So because of that, people are gonna shut their doors, bar up their window with iron and things of that nature. It says there is a crying for wine in the streets, or joy is darkened, the mirth of the land is gone. Yeah, because people are gonna remember the good old days and want things to go back to normal. But guess what? Ever since 2020, they've been told you things ain't going back to normal, Jack. So it's only gonna get worse, and people are gonna get more and more depressed as time goes on, which is gonna lead to a lot of suicides, a lot of murders, right? It says, the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. That's right. So you're gonna have, destruction everywhere. And the gate represents protection. So the protection of America is gonna be destroyed. You're gonna have terrorist attacks nationwide, drone attacks, so on and so on. That's why you got military bases all over America and government buildings, even Trump's new ballroom. They're gonna be equipped with anti-drone technology because they understand how serious this is, But it says fear. I'm gonna jump down to verse 17. It says fear in the pit and the snare are upon thee, O inhabitant of the earth. That's right. So a snare, like the scriptures say, the day of the Lord is gonna come as a thief in the night. And Yahweh Shah said, as a snare, this destruction is gonna come upon the earth. So catch these people off guard like a trap. Fear in the pit and the snare upon thee, O inhabitant of the earth, because this thing will be global. As it says in Revelation, the 3rd chapter, the hour of temptation shall come upon the whole world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So we're in the midst of the hour of temptation, in the beginning of it, but it's going to intensify. It says, and it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the pit of the fear shall fall into the pit, and he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in a snare, for the windows from on high open and the foundations of the earth do shake. Yeah, so that means there is no escape. Like it says in Amos, the day of the Lord, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord, to what end is it for you? The day of the Lord, is as if a man went into a house, flee from a lion, then the bear met him, and flee from the bear, went into a house for protection, and the serpent bit him. Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light? So, it's gonna be a trap, man. No way out. Even if you escape the famine and all of that, the missile is gonna get you. That's what it's talking about. When it says from the windows on high open and the foundations of the earth do shake. The windows on high is the sky. Just like the windows of heaven was open during the time of the flood, and the Lord poured from heaven water from above and from below, So it says the earth is utterly broken down, the earth is clean dissolved, the earth is moved exceedingly. And that's going to be because of those missiles, especially the ones that's going to destroy America. 200 million warheads is going to pelt the space off the face of the earth, right? So that is going to cause a global earthquake, as spoken of in the book of Revelation. It says it's going to be a great earthquake, such as was so mighty an earthquake that, it was never seen before, And it says how, in Isaiah 2, how they're going to try to hide from the face of the Lord, Yahweh Shah, when he comes on the chariot, because it's going to be, all around the same time, all at the same time. Missiles coming, Yahweh Shah right there, because he's the one coming to save his elect on that chariot, that big fathership, right? It says the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. Yeah, so America's going to fall and not rise again. That's it for Edom, man. Like it says in Lamentations 4, rejoice Edom, it's over. The captivity of Israel is over. Now it's your time to pay. Now it's your time to suffer. Now it's your time for captivity. It's your turn to build up our kingdom, man. Right? So everything that's happening now is ultimately to lead to the destruction of America and the downfall of the so-called white man in these heathen nations. So with that, I'm going to close out and give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashem Yashah Bashem HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS and salutations to all the occupants in this word. Shalom.